who's about to pop in on running point here as we bring him in, the head coach of Springfield football. We definitely appreciate him popping on game day. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It's game day. What are you going through right now? I mean, you obviously have the time to come on with us, but I imagine a very busy Friday on week one.
Yeah, we already brought our kids in this morning just to go over a couple of details. We usually go over our special teams just to make sure the guys are up and moving around. I really don't want them sleeping, all morning. So we brought them in. I think they normally go out to breakfast or do something. And then hopefully they'll be relaxing right now and drinking some water and thinking about their assignments.
I imagine that's something different. Obviously, when school starts, they'll be engaged the whole school day, and then you won't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I think we're almost in week 3 before that happens. So I think this is something our kids are kind of used to. Just being able to chill and relax a little bit. Like I said, they kind of started traditions of when I bring them in to go out to breakfast, spend some time with each other. So I think it's a positive thing for for these first 3 weeks.
Talk to me about the matchup that never happened that we're going to get to see bright and early week 1 this season with South Range. Preview the Raiders a little bit and what we're expecting to see from this game tonight.
Well, I give a lot of credit to Coach Yeagley and the program he ends up running. He does a great job. Offensively, I think they're going to try to establish the run and work some play action and pass off of that. Defensively, they fly to the football. Their linebackers get downhill. Their D-line keeps those linebackers free. And then the secondary, they're very solid. Their special team game is always good and a positive thing for us. So for us, week 1, I think this is going to be one of the biggest tests that we've had in a long time. So I just think they're a very good, solid football team. The team that makes the most mistakes, I think it'll be the team that ends up losing.
Talk to me about this rivalry and what it means to both communities and what it's like having it kind of back. It took a year hiatus last year because not a lot of non-conference games. Talk about what it means to each community and what it's like to have it back for week 1 in the new season.
I just think, communities are very similar. I think a lot of the kids are involved, whether that's through football, cheerleading, band. I think that's a big part of it where there's the community comes together. And I think the most I'm excited about is having a packed house. I think they will travel well. I think our community will end up being there. So I'm just excited for the atmosphere for a week 1. For having everything that happened last year. I'm just, and even seeing the Poland and Canfield game last night, just seeing people there and the cheer, the crowd, and that kind of stuff, I think is going to be amazing.
It's hard to say a team that's been to state the last 2 years can find something to improve on, but we know the best coaches usually try to find that. So, Coach Guerriero, I guess my biggest question is, what is the biggest thing Springfield was looking to improve on going into this offseason before this season starts?
I think you kind of said that we can't rely on that we played in the state championship, the past 2 years. That's something that we don't discuss. We don't talk about. We have a new team this year. We have new kids that have to step up. We have new kids that have new roles. So it's a whole new challenge in that. We got to make sure we're solid up front. And I think as the season goes on, one thing for us is that we have to build some depth through these first couple weeks if we want to end up, making a run in the playoffs. So being in the state championship game has nothing to do with this year's team. That's our ultimate goal, is to end up playing in that game. But there's a lot of different challenges and things that we have to do, whether that's staying focused week to week. But I know right now I'm playing South Range in week 1. Our kids are excited for it. Our kids, have been working for that because we didn't play last year. So I just think our kids have to maintain and still stay focused from week to week.
I'm sure that was a huge conversation last year coming off the first state championship game. Now that they've already gone through a season where they've went to a state championship game and they're coming back and they have to start a new season, are you less concerned with their mental fortitude to take every game seriously? And because they've already proven they can do it last year, because that was one of the conversations last year we had, how Springfield going to handle coming off of a state championship run? Can they go week to week and focus each week? But you guys absolutely did every week last season. So I imagine this year it's not as much of a concern because your kids have already proven they can wash out that run and realize that they're a new team this year.
Yeah, and going through it, hopefully we'll learn from the experiences that we have or any negative thing that we have. So we have to make sure we're getting better, you know what I mean, in everything. And that could be our travel, our, you know what I mean, our work, you know what I mean, from Monday through Thursday. And I think that's the most important. I think our senior leadership this year has been great in just keeping the kids focused and making sure that we're doing everything we can throughout Monday through Thursday to end up getting better. And I think the senior class has done that. I always end up saying our senior class is going to take us as far as we want to go. And this group seems focused. This group wants to work hard. I think this group does a great job and kind of just setting the tone for our kids. And it's been so quick without having this kind of second week of doubles. It really hasn't been a lot of time to end up focusing maybe on the little things. I think that's the thing that us as coaches is maybe we wish we had another day to kind of just work on technique and things of that nature. So it's stuff where our kids have done a good job and maintained, but I'm hoping maybe over the past 2 years and getting those 10 extra weeks of practice that'll end up paying off this year.
Talk to me a little bit about the senior leaders that you have on your team, Coach, and highlight why you're excited to play with them this year.
Well, I mean, I think offensively, I think everybody kind of looks at Beau. He does a great job in commanding that huddle and doing those, you know what I mean, little things first. But I think AJ Stallsmith, Zeke Worsencroft, two guys up front that have been returning starters for us on that offensive line. It kind of set the tone for us in practice and making sure we're moving in the right direction and we're not going through the motions. Joey Sandine and Bo Snyder are in the backfield this year. They've done a good job. Offensively, you got Jay Joyce, Nick Slike. I mean, I think I can name every senior almost and end up talking about their leadership one way or the other, whether it's defense or offense. And I think something that's unique about this class was with 16 seniors, when we voted for captains with our team, every one of our seniors, you know what I mean, had votes. And I think that kind of gives them credit to know what they bring every day and how they end up, you know what I mean, taking on practice and things of that nature. So we got a very good group of seniors right now that show up and they're ready to work.
Talk a little bit, you know, you have a lot of players that everybody knows. You know, you have a lot of names that people have been familiar with for the last 2 years. Talk about some new faces that people might see that we have to look out for this year and some people that are up and coming on your team.
Oh gosh, we were a pretty senior-laced team, but I think Shondell Gardner is a kid who's had a great kind of preseason. He plays wide out in DB. I think his route running and the effort that he gives has been remarkable at that point at wide out and trying to, you know what I mean, improve that group and with losing Clay and Lucas, you know, those kind of guys from last year's group, I think he's done a great job in stepping up and taking on that role. Joey Sandine was a kid who played DB for us, but has taken on a running back role for us, who I think has done a good job. You're going to see Ethan Dunkel in our linebacking core. Aaron Groner played, but he kind of played a couple different positions that he kind of played. Outside linebacker, DN. He's going to be our middle backer. So he was our tight end last year, but I don't know if you really heard his name too much. Marshall Yelkin's another kid who was a one-way starter for us. That's going to be a 2-year starter for us. In looking at those things, we got a couple underclassmen like Lucas DeTillo is going to start for us up front. He'll end up doing a fantastic job. Jake Newell is another senior kid that stepped up this year that's going to be on the offensive line and defensive line. Jake Needham will be a kid that will end up making plays for us defensively and offensively. There's a lot of kids that are going to step up, and that's what we talk about, kind of that next guy up or next man up mentality when it's your turn to make a play or make sure you're Simon Sound or to end up doing that. We talk about that, whether that's, you know what I mean, you're Beau Brungard or the freshman that is the first time you've experienced, you know what I mean, high school football. So we just got to take that mentality and making sure we never know who, you know what I mean, who needs to make a play for us, but you never know what will happen throughout the game.
We know every team is nothing without a strong community and fan base backing them, Coach. So talk to me a little bit about what it's going to mean for you to have the Springfield faithful loaded into the stadium tonight against South Range.
I know how much, you know, I mean, people ended up, whether we were fighting for tickets last year or who was saving them or who could get them or could we get them off the other team. I'm so excited for that. I mean, I feel like we have one of the best stadiums for a smaller school. The atmosphere is fantastic. Again, our band and cheerleaders do a fantastic job with that. So I'm so excited to walk onto the field, you know what I mean, that 7 minutes before game time and hear that crowd for the first time, like, you know, like we heard 2 years ago. So I'm so excited, and the backing that we have, starting with our school administration, things of that nature are great. I know from our principals and stuff and our superintendent, when you see kids walking down the hallways, everybody's, you know, known by the first name, and that's whoever you are. So I just feel grateful I'm in the position that I am, you know, in the school district that I am, that the community in the school just backs the program.
Communities don't get enough love, and we know the coaching staffs don't get enough love either. Talk about the people you have working with you and the staff that you have that make your job a little bit easier and make this program run.
Well, I do. I always try to compliment the guys that I work with. Those guys put a lot of time in, but I'd put my staff up against everybody. I mean, one of the main guys I count on is Adam Slopek. He's our DC. He kind of does the weight room. I shouldn't say kind of does. He does do our weight room stuff. I mean, I think he does a great job with bringing that, you know what I mean, mentality for our defense to make sure when we step on the field, I mean, our kids are ready. Offensively, we got Mark Brungard, who's the offensive coordinator. He does a great job, and what he does, obviously, I mean, coming from Poland, I mean, he was a great, you know what I mean, head coach there. I got Bill Miller, who's been a head coach at Salem, but he does a great job for what he brings. Joey Antonucci has been on our staff for, I think 14 years. I got Kyle McCree, who's been with us, I think, for his third or fourth year. I think it's his fourth year with us. He's a Poland kid that has come on. Mark brought him over, who's been a great, young, excellent coach. And then we just picked up Mike Popio, a guy who was on the Boardman staff last year. So to be able to pick up a guy with, I mean, almost 40 years of experience has definitely improved our staff. But those guys do a great job at preparing our kids and making sure there's really no egos in our coach's office. We just want to be able to make sure that we put our kids in the best, you know, position that we can end up succeeding. So, like I said, I'd put our staff up against anybody right now. I feel like I'm very fortunate to have those guys and going to work every day and just making sure we have that common goal and just beating, you know, I mean, our next opponent and going week by week.
Not many teams encounter this where they have such a senior heavy squad. And for that, I mean, you usually take time, it feels like, to reflect, coaches do, when they have those special years when it's very senior led. Is there a team motto or anything going into this year? And just reflect on your coaching experience with these boys the last few years and what some of your favorite parts of that have been.
Well, I think with our motto that they came up with something that was on our T-shirt. I don't want to end up misquoting it, but I think these kids have been in the situation of everybody says, well, you guys were in the state championship the past 2 years. Yeah, these kids want to win. I mean, that's their ultimate goal, and that's kind of I've said this the past couple of years when we end up missing the playoffs and going 9-1, but you end up, you mean, missing that opportunity. These kids have the mentality that they want to win one. So we all know it starts with week one and goes week by week, but you want to end up, you know what I mean, winning the league. And I think in our league, if you definitely win the league, you know what I mean, going from, you know, I mean, 8 playoff teams, that was something where you almost guaranteed yourself a playoff spot. So I think these kids, for hard to say, they have a chip on their shoulder. They want to win the big game. They put the work in. They do a lot of extra things on their own time to make sure that they're putting themselves in position, whether that's getting an extra set or lifting on their own time or doing that kind of stuff. So I know it's hard to say, but these kids got a chip on their shoulder where they want to win one. They don't want to be the team that played in the state championship. They want to be the team that ends up winning one.
We know, especially in football, development of kids before they get to high school is so important. Talk about your junior high programs and even younger, and how important it is to get these kids developed before they get to you as freshmen.
Well, I do think, and I think it's important to have coaches, you know, that are in the building, you mean, on your staff, and we're fortunate enough to end up doing that and having those guys. Little Tigers program, I think our numbers down there were in the 40s. Which is a great number. I think we're over 30 in our junior high program. And right now we have the most that we've had on our team, on our varsity team. We have 60 kids on our roster. I kind of want to give hats off to our athletic director, because I just want our kids playing games. I think right now we might have 6 freshman games. We'll play hopefully 8 or 9 JV schedule. As long as our kids are playing football and getting better and getting that opportunity, I think that's the key about it. So from little Tigers on up, they continue to play. They continue to get a chance to get better. And I definitely think that has been the improvement about our overall program, just getting kids to play. And it's hard right now with the Division VI school to get freshman games because a lot of schools don't have them. So I think that freshman year, our kids go into it. And we're playing right now, I think it's Poland, Struthers, South Range, West Branch, Beaver Local, where we're playing up in those games. So it's a challenge for those kids to make sure that we're sound up front and we know what we're doing and assignment wise. But as long as they're playing, they're getting better, and hopefully after a couple of years of that, they're ready to play at the varsity level.
I think there's no doubt what you've done with Springfield the last few years, Coach, has been truly incredible. But my final question for you, looking past the X's and O's a little bit, talk to me a little bit about the lessons you try to teach your kids that are outside the realm of football.
Well, I think football is a special thing because it has a lot of discipline that carries that these kids are going to end up maybe realizing, 5 years from now when they got a job and they're showing up, on time. And I try to be a person who keeps them on task and keep, making them accountable for what they do. I think that's something. But the relationship, if you talk to anybody, even the kids, or I remember last year when they did this, the kids all had to give a word that described me, and it was always goofy or silly. I have a great time with our kids. I think we have a good relationship from our staff and relationship on that thing, because when they score, something good happens, and we're celebrating with the kids. And there's a little kid inside me that ends up coming out when on the sidelines and things of that nature. So I think the relationship that we build, the atmosphere that we build, is we want to have fun with our kids, but when it's time to work, it's time to work. But those things that the kids will learn on just being disciplined and accountable, I think, are those lifelong lessons that'll go along with them for the rest of their lives.
I think anyone that knows the time constraints of a high school coach knows you have to have a passion for it to keep doing it. What gives you the passion for coaching, and what gives you the passion for the sport that makes you keep coming back and keep up the career?
For me, I love waking up every morning and dealing with kids. That's something where I know a lot of people that kind of go to work and they really don't like it or they don't enjoy it. When I get up, I love going to school. I love being around the kids and having the common goal of what we want to do here at Springfield is something where I think that relates. Our kids do senior speeches throughout doubles. And things that we end up doing it, whether they pick a hero, they pick a word that best describes our team, and then they pick a challenge. But if you would hear what these kids end up saying to our kids, it's absolutely amazing. We talk about the common goal and how they've bought into the program. The kids make it easy when you can go to work and you're smiling and laughing with the kids. That's one thing that I would end up saying over my career of being a football coach. This is something for me where this has probably been the best time of my life that I've had with the kids. And I know winning ends up producing that, but you build relationships with the kids, and even seeing the kids coming back that have been out of the program, that have kind of built this thing, whether that's supporting a fundraiser we have or coming to our golf outing and things of that nature. It's great to see those guys come back and still be a part of the program or still want to be a part of the program. I think that's something that's special to me, to see these kids succeed and being a productive person in the community here at Springfield. It kind of seems like these guys want to hang around and still be a part of it, which I love.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on game day. We know your time is probably limited today. We appreciate it. We look forward to covering you all season. Good luck tonight. We can't wait for the return of the rivalry between South Range and Springfield.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate what you guys do and how you're handling this. So thank you guys.